Hansi yow ak suma baay
ku ko gis nga ne mooy ndey bi la c'est que amul dog amul dogit xamul lu
jàng jëriñu jigéen dara ci jamono buñ nekk ni
bu ma wax nga teg ci baat
jigéen daal moo sona rek
ashhadu anna muhammadan rasulullah
kañ ku ñaaw ki kañ du mun a nekk sama xarit
ñaawa ngeen de
lii rek laa lay ñaan man mii di sa yaay
kon bismillah leen ngeen ñëw ak si
marila kon waras ki tange talla jokola kon
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Rebecca Martin, and I am the founder and the festival director of the February Showcase, short film showcase. I am just so excited. I'm not going to say much, but I am excited that we're going to be talking about one of our selected films, MÉBÉT. We have a moderator, Oluwaseun Babalola, and she'll correct me if I said that wrong. But I'm so excited she could join. She is a filmmaker, and she has an amazing series called SòOJU. You should check it out. And it has to do with people. Well, I'll let her explain it, but it's so unique, and it shows like a side of Africa that you don't see real African people in their real lives. And I'm so glad that she can moderate this discussion from this film from the Gambia, and how cool that we can have, this discussion in this virtual world we're in. So I'm going to bring them all up, and thank you for watching.
Hi, everyone. So I thank you for joining the Cinema Femme Short Festival February Showcase. I'm just going to introduce myself really briefly. My name is Oluwaseun Babalola. I'm a filmmaker and television producer. I'm also owner of a production company called Do Global Productions, which focuses on stories of Black or African identity with a platform on women's stories. And so this is the Q&A for our MÉBÉT, which was a really awesome film. I really loved watching it, and I won't get into the synopsis yet. I'll just let everyone introduce themselves. So if we can, Gemma, if you want to go first.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gemma Jack. I am the writer of the story that we turned into MÉBÉT, and I have also been handling promotion and marketing for the film. Super excited to be here and looking forward to an awesome conversation.
Thank you. Musu?
Hello, my name is Musubak Rasao, and I'm from the Gambia. This beautiful film was dedicated to me. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. And Mariama?
Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? My name is Mariama Kuli. I acted lead role on this wonderful movie, MÉBÉT. I was also the production manager of the film.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Well, yeah, let's get started. Gemma, if you want to maybe tell us what this film is about in your own words.
So MÉBÉT is a story about child marriages. It centers on a 14-year-old girl who was forced out of school by her father, despite her mother's protests, and forced into marriage with somebody that she did not know or love. So she would go through the complications of childbirth and eventually something happens. I don't want to spoil it for those who have not had the chance to watch it on the cinema platform yet. But it's basically a portrayal of what could happen when we force girls to get married at really early ages without their consent, and having to deal with all of the complications, physical, emotional, mental, that come with that experience. It's one story out of so many stories of child marriage, and we're hoping to use it to really get people thinking about this practice and why we should all stand up and try to do something about it and ensure we're protecting girls.
Amazing. And so you wrote it, right? You wrote the film.
Yeah, so I wrote the original story for the film in 2012, and I think 2017, my husband, who's also the director of the film, wrote the I guess the screenplay, and we did some collaborative work on that to get the final script that we used to produce the film. So yeah.
Okay, so how did that, I mean, there's always a point when an idea for a story comes to mind and you're just like, okay, you know what, right now I have to sit down and I have to write this. And so child marriage is something that affects a lot of different places, not just in the Gambia. So what moment happened where you're just like, I have to make this into a film?
So the funny thing is I did not write this for film. So when I wrote it, it was a story for my blog, which focuses mainly on my feminist journey, my feminist awakening, but also like the causes that I work on. So Muso and I were part of an organization called Think Young Women. And this is some of the work that we do. We work on child marriage. We work on preventing child marriages in communities. When I wrote this story, though, in 2012, I was a student in Morocco. One afternoon, just bored, and decided I have not updated my blog in a while. Why not write a story? And so the story just came to me. I wrote it in one sitting and, published it, and people loved it. And well, it took all of 5 years, obviously, to get us to the point where we now began the journey of turning that into film. So when I wrote it, I was really just thinking about my blog, but it's taken a life of its own. And here we are at Cinema Femme, and just like we've been at other international festivals, and it's been amazing.
So, I mean, in that regard, Musu, this is a film that's, kind of dedicated to you. How is that weird? To just kind of seeing your life stories on screen. Do you welcome it? Were you open to it initially? Did you have to warm up to it? How did that work for you? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. The surprising thing is that I did not know that the film was even dedicated to me. For some reason, during the time that they were showing the movie in selected schools, I would ordinarily be part of that, but for some reason I wasn't. I think everyone else knew but me. Everyone kind of like took it away, like kept it from me until the day of the luncheon. I remember Gemma was like, oh, you need to come to the luncheon. I was like, okay, sure. But then it coincided with my husband's family event in the house. So I texted Gemma at around, I think, 8:30. I was like, I don't think I'm coming. I'm so tired. This event is like, there's a lot of drumming and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm not coming. And she's like, you are dead to me if you don't show up. So you better show up. So I was like, okay, there's really no way out. As I was dressed in the traditional outfits, I went to the luncheon. And so my husband dropped me off. I was like, I need to be there. And I was sitting and watching and enjoying the film. Then she texted me and said, oh, can you just focus on the ending? I thought because at some point the singing, my daughter was part of the voiceover. So I thought, they had, something with her name. And then I saw that this movie was like dedicated to me. I was in awe. I had all sorts of emotions because Gemma and I have been, we've had a good relationship over the years. And also I've had a very special relationship with her husband too, since I was a child. So this entire process, it happened, they've been there. So to see them dedicate their movie to me was something that was really touching, and it was a pleasant surprise, and I welcome it, even though I wasn't told in the beginning. I think even if I were told in the beginning, I would have welcomed it, because this is a movie that is very timely and important in our society. People do not understand the consequences of child marriages. They don't understand the consequences of other harmful traditional practices like FGM. So to see them put that on a screen where people would be able to connect to it because it's in the local languages, in the local language rather, and understanding that this really is not just a movie, but it is something that is like non-fictional, that there are people whose lives depict or reflect the exact thing that the movie portrayed, and hoping that it would be a learning point for people who come into contact with it, who are blessed with the opportunity of watching it. Really, I still don't understand why me, but I'm thankful and I'm very grateful and appreciative. But I still don't forgive them for, making me look at emotional wreck. I wasn't prepared for, it. I wasn't prepared for it. I just sat down and I was just crying because I loved the movie so much. So I connected with it on every level. So towards the end, to see my name on that movie meant so much to me, really.
Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what reaction I would even have, but it's good that you were gracious about it. So I actually want to get into community response a little later, but I want to know how you got involved with this, because you were the lead actress, but you're also in production, you just said. So how did that work out? Is Mariama here? She dropped off. All right. Well, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to, I'll ask her a little bit later. But so when you were doing production, did you have to, you did this with Usman, who directed it, and he's also your husband. So what was that collaboration like? Was there anything that you had to be like, no, you don't get this. So you have to understand this from the female perspective, or things like that?
Absolutely. So we had a lot of that. So like I said, I think in 2017 is when we started working on it together. So initially it was the two of us playing around with the idea of, I love this story, I want to turn it into film. I'm like, okay, yes. So the funny thing is, in 2014, I had a British indie filmmaker approach me and say, I read the story on your blog. I think it will be great for film. I want to turn it into film. And I was like, okay, yes, let's go ahead, let's do it. But unfortunately, she could not get the funding to make that happen. And so I guess the universe really wanted it to be something that I worked with my husband on. And so there was a lot of that. First of all, translating the story into, the screenplay that we worked with. There were several drafts from what he presented at first and me looking at it and saying, oh, this was not in my story. Why did you put it in there? Or you've put in this thing that wasn't on the story. Why have you done that? So it was really a collaborative effort where, it was all about how could we come together to tell a story that was nuanced, that portrayed, like Musa has said, the reality of millions of girls, but that also sort of uplifted our experiences and our culture and our traditions as Gambia, at least the good aspects of our culture and our traditions as Gambia. So we also shared it with a few people, some close friends, trusted friends, just so we could have some extra eyes on it that could pick up things that we were not picking up, or that could, include things that we were missing out on. And this also included people who are working as activists in the field. And so we had that a lot, but it was mostly with regards to developing the script. When it came to production, so it was very clear what our roles were, and I think this is valid for everyone on the crew. It was a collaborative effort, and when we decided to do it, we sat down and thought about who we wanted to involve as part of our production crew. And so it was very clear what the roles were. So I think I was only on set one. This is, so do your thing. And when it comes to my turn to handle stuff in post-production and stuff, I would do that. So apart from that, really, we did not have any clashes. It's been a very enriching experience, and it's the experience that we're carrying forward into our.
I think I didn't get the last part. It may have the sound cut off a little bit. If you could like maybe say
Yeah,
the
so
last
we've got
sentence
really
again.
terrible internet in Gambia. We've got really terrible internet in Gambia right now, so apologies for that.
No,
But
no
for me, I
problem.
think it was a very enriching experience. It was a very enriching experience, and it's the experience that we're carrying forward into new productions that we're working on. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this and to explore my craft in another dimension.
Excellent. Well, Mariama, you're back. So did you hear my did you hear my question to you, how
Finally.
you got involved?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I wanted to know, how, because you were the lead actress, but you're also involved in production. So what was that like, and how did you get involved working with Gemma and Usman and everyone?
Well, so it was a new challenge. It was the first time acting lead role at the same time handling production management, which was quite a lot of work to do. Knowing that I had to deal with the actors, the schedule, and of course some logistics on the ground to make sure the entire production happens greatly. And I was just running everywhere, and then having to fit in with my character at the same time was very challenging because I had to get in and out of my emotions, So it was a great experience. I love to be challenged also. So it was another wonderful challenge just having to wear both caps. And actually, I was introduced on this project by Usman, the director of this movie. So I've known and worked with him for a very long time. So when he approached me about this project, I was pretty excited. I'm like, why not? Let's make it happen. So coming on board, sharing our expertise, and of course, making sure we produce a movie that would stand out, of course, with a wonderful story that Gemma wrote, was our objective. And to see the story coming to life as an actor was also something that we were really concerned about. So I made sure that I recommended the best actors that we had in the country, and then get it rolling. And here we are now. MÉBÉT is going places.
And one of the things I really love about the film is that you don't over-explain culture or the things that are going on. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, kind of like look it up and see what's going on. It's very confident in itself. And it seems like you involved a lot of the community. Where in the Gambia did you film it?
I'm sorry, I can't hear what you're saying. It's all breaking.
Oh, no problem. I was just asking, I was commending the film for being so rich in culture, but not over explaining itself. It was very confident in just like the integrity of, local tradition and just keeping it that way. And so I was wondering where it was filmed, and, it seems like it was a community effort. So did the community members also play a part in the production, like in terms of support? And did you have to get their blessings? I know that's sometimes a thing.
So we filmed in the Gambia in a small town called Manjai. We get that a lot. Even Gambians asking us, where did you film this? Where's this? What's this location? But so everybody that was on set. So what we did, our cast was a mix of experienced actors and people who had never acted in their lives before. So a lot of our extras were people who were on screen for the first time. And so like we had that community support. We had the support of friends, of well-wishers, coming to be a part of the dancing, crowds, a part of, just the story that we were trying to tell. But we also had members of the community open up their homes. So we went scouting for locations. We found places that worked for us. We had to speak to the people and say, this is what we want to do, basically explain the vision. And they welcomed us with open arms. They opened up their homes to us. and we were able to produce that film. So yes, there was a lot of community effort, and even now, with every festival we get into, with every nomination, every award, it's a whole community that's cheering us on, that's supporting us, because I think people have taken MÉBÉT to be their own. They've taken ownership of the film. It's not just about us, and we're still enjoying that community. And it's a natural thing for Gambia. If you know Gambia and Gambians, you know we thrive on community and the community values we have. So that's really what was also portrayed in the film, but also behind the scenes as part of the production process for the film.
Did you get any pushback about making a film about child marriage? Was anyone just like, no, you shouldn't be making this?
No. Thankfully, no. I think in the country where other places, some of those things are no longer a thing. So like we have a law now after years and years and years of activists speaking up and doing community work. We have a law against child marriage. So the space has been opened up for conversations about child marriages. And so we did not really face a lot of pushback. If anything, what we have seen is people watching it and thinking, oh my God, I did not realize it was this serious, or this bad, and just that awakening. So yeah, thankfully we have not received any feedback yet, any pushback yet.
Someone asked a question. They said, this is Matt. He said, how did the filmmakers create a safe space for the actors when filming emotionally harrowing scenes? If anyone can jump on that.
Yeah, being the production manager and working closely with all the cast and crew, we made sure that the environment was actually, what it was for all of us to be able to do our work. So it wasn't, an uncomfortable environment for anybody. And the fact that we were able to communicate with the cast prior before going on set and even before the credit, get forward to what was going to be just. So if you live in the Gambia and you work within the film industry, probably they will understand what I'm saying, because you need to familiarize yourself with the cast and then make sure that they are comfortable with what they're about to perform on, especially with me being the lead character. I had to really make sure that I get my emotions right for the character that I was supposed to act, and of course for the scenes that were going to be acted as well. Some of them were quite uncomfortable for certain actors, but at the end of the day, they were able to put themselves in that mood and in that character as well.
And what is the film? Sure.
If I could just add on quickly to that. So child marriage is very common in the Gambia. So I don't think you can come across a Gambian that has not heard about child marriage or that doesn't know somebody who's gone through it, right? And so everybody that was involved already knew what we were working on. But I think there was also, so the director, for example, is somebody who's been working as an activist for a long time as well. And he understands, those issues about care, especially if there's somebody on set who probably would be triggered by a certain scene or just a line or something. So that's also something that he paid quite a lot of attention to. And it comes back to being comfortable with the people you're working with, making them feel comfortable, making them feel safe, and knowing also to just pause when things are a bit overwhelming for everyone. Just so people can get back into a good space to be able to carry it forward. Because as much as, yes, people know what's happening, people understand it, sometimes you don't know when the triggers are going to come and where they're going to come from. So it was really important that he also took those steps, and the team just understood that. So again, the community was useful. There were those safeguarding procedures, and I guess, there was that safe space basically to be able to carry forward with the work, and knowing just when to pause and people's care and people's feelings and their safety first.
Okay, great. I apologize if I pause for a little bit. I'm on a little bit of a delay. So, okay, that's great. Thank you for that question, Matt. What I wanted to know actually is how robust is the film scene in the Gambia? Like, is it a very small, just like tight knit community? Does it bleed over maybe into Senegal? Like, how, what does that kind of look like?
Can you say that again? Because it was breaking, so I did not get the full question.
Sure. I was asking about the film scene in the Gambia. Is it a very just like robust film scene where a lot of films are being made? Is it smaller? Does it bleed into Senegal? How is that? How does it work?
No, not close to where Senegal is at all, especially in recent times. It's still very small. I think even among filmmakers, the question is always, do we have a film industry or not? Can we call what we have a film industry? So what you have is people who are passionate about film, who are interested in filmmaking, using their resources, just like we did with MÉBÉT, using their resources to produce films. So it's not a robust industry. It's not a robust scene yet, but there are efforts in place to try and get filmmakers to work together, to collaborate, to just create until we're to a point where we have a lot of films coming out. We can market them outside of the Gambia, go into Senegal, go into other African countries, and go international. So there are those efforts in place. Obviously, it's going to take a long time. It's going to need a lot of resources. But for now, what you have is a lot of independent filmmakers just doing what they can with what they have and trying to tell the stories that they feel matter.
Yeah, I feel like that's all of us, honestly, not just in the Gambia. So it's very relatable. And this film has, an impact campaign that goes along with it. I know there's an organization, Think Young Women, that you have. And can you talk about that?
So I'll just speak about what we have done, and then Musu can speak on Think Young Women because she's the lead on there. She's my boss. So
Excellent.
when we created the film, when I wrote the story first, it was a story that was meant to create awareness, to awaken people's consciousness, and it was sort of a call to people to take a stance and to protect girls. So when we made the film as well, the objective for us was to use it as a tool to support organizations like Think Young Women and so many others in the Gambia that are doing work to end child marriages, to use the film as an entry point, as a tool to engage with communities. So to move away a bit from what we have been used to now move into using creative arts and creative products to engage with communities and tell stories that they can relate to. So we had funding from UNFPA, the Gambia, in 2019, even before we premiered the film, to do a pilot, community screening project. And we showed the film in 5 schools, reaching over 600 adolescents, including children at a school for the deaf. And so that was very impactful, and that's what we want to continue to do with the film. And we collaborated with Think Young Women to do those screenings, because after each screening we had a session where we had discussions, we took questions and answers, we talked to the adolescents of child marriage, and we worked with Think Young Women on that. Musu can speak to us about Think Young Women and what we do as an organization.
Take it away, Musu.
So Think Young Women is a young women-led organization, feminist organization that was founded in 2010 by a group of friends and officially registered in 2011. The idea behind Think Young Women was because of the fact that in the Gambia, we've had many women-led organizations from a very long time ago, but there wasn't any that was led and coordinated by young women, young feminist women in particular. So our co-founders, Dr. Setang Nabane and also Ami Kujabi, had a vision when they were identified as two of the most influential young African leaders, and they managed to participate in a program called My Lead in Ghana. So when they came back, they had an idea of a project. but subsequently thought about forming an organization instead that would focus around building capacities, raising awareness, and mentoring young women leaders, because our vision is to create a new generation of well-informed and enlightened young women leaders. And for that to happen, there needs to be organizations or movements built around that. So we work on issues like female genital mutilation, child marriages, sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and girls in the Gambia, women's political participation, just to name a few. But generally, our focus is on women's rights, really. The rights of women, the opportunity or the right to be able to have control over one's body, make a decision in terms of when to have a baby, how to plan the baby, spacing, in terms of family planning, to be able to access contraceptives, to be able to have access to reproductive services, amongst other things, and to also, of course, ensure that harmful traditional practices like female genital mutilation and child marriages that take away from the life fundamental rights and freedoms of girls' access to education in particular are also issues that we campaign on. So we run a girls mentorship program, which is our baby. We've been running it since 2011, and it focuses on girls who are within schools. It's a school-based program. When we started it, who are between the ages of 12 to 17 years, where we inculcate in them the spirit of sisterhood, because it's important in a country where the society is mainly patriarchal, for you to have a network of sisters that you can rely on when you receive backlashes from communities for work that you do. We also inculcate in them life skills such as communications, advocacy, and also train them on other issues like sexual and reproductive health and rights, and how menstrual hygiene, for example, is important to them, but to name a few. So we've been running this program, and we have recently launched or piloted it in rural Gambia, which is what we're most excited about, so that it's an inclusive process, and girls within urban area, the way that they have benefited from this program, those also in rural Gambia would get the same opportunity. Because for me, education is the most important tool you can give to a woman as far as, having their voices heard. It has changed my life, and we're hoping that we will give these other girls also the opportunity, regardless of the multiple challenges they face at home or within their communities, to be able to get quality education and access education on an equal basis like their male counterparts.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that work, because it's much needed. And I'm echoing. Sorry if it's on my end. But yeah, I just appreciate, organizations like Think Young Women and films like MÉBÉT, because it just really takes African women to be like, okay, this is an issue. We need to work on this together, because no one else is going to help us. We have to help each other. And so thank you for that. And the work that you do, everyone. It looks like we are, at the mark, but I quickly want to ask, do you have any similar projects coming up next? Anything each of you are working on that you would like to share? Anything like that, or stuff that we didn't cover? Mariama, you want to go?
So we have a similar project coming up. It's on. Yeah, looks like I'm back.
Yes, you're back. We can hear you now.
So we're in pre-production for another short film. It's also focusing on another social issue, genital mutilation. Musso has talked briefly about it. So in pre-production right now, we're trying to put together our team just like we did with MÉBÉT. And I'm sure in a few months, people will see what we have been working on. I can't say much because it's a commission project that we're really excited about. So we've got two things in the works, actually, both dealing with the same issue. And I'm super excited for it. I'm super excited about being able to really carry forward my writing, but also for Rebel Vision, it's important for us because we're able to collaboration and bringing different talents to support our productions. So in a few months, yeah, people will be hearing from us in addition to everything MÉBÉT is doing and all the journeys it's taking. There will be some new stuff coming up from Rebel Vision, and we're working hard on those.
Okay, well, I'm going to be waiting. I'll be looking out for it. And that's it. Unless anyone else has something else to add. Okay. Well,
I just wanted to say one thing. You can see this movie until the 28th of February. Well, yeah, the end of this month. And go to cinemafem.com and click on where it says watch films. And to watch this film, it's $5, and then it's $12 for all the films. And I think that's it. We have an award ceremony coming up a week from today around the same time, but for our live events, this is our big last one. So thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. This means a lot for you coming, and have a good rest of your day.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank